Hello friends, welcome back. And if you're new here, I'm Meg and I post free hair education every single Monday. And this week we are going to do this beautiful hidden rainbow. So first we are going to be doing red and pink. And I started by mixing Checkmate and Diablo from Danger Jones. That is like a darker red and then a more bright red. So we have that one. Next up for our pink, I am going to use Danger Jones Hustler. This is just like a straight up magenta. It is so gorgeous, and we are not even going to mix anything into it. We are just using Hustler out of the bottle. This is Burnout, and once again, it's a really great bright orange, so I am just going to use straight Burnout for our orange. And for yellow, this is Starrider, which is like a marigold. Then for green, we are going to do a little mixing here. This is Adrenaline. And then I just like to do like a drop of Oblivion into my Adrenaline. And that way it just kind of deepens it up just a little bit, but you still get a nice neon green. And for our blue, I am going to be using Solitude, which is just the standard like cobalt blue. And then I added some Ransom into it. So Ransom is like the newer, like a light teal. It might look more bluey and gray when it comes out, but it comes out very teal after it processes. And then we have Hysteria with a little bit of Masquerade for our purple. I am also always adding in my B3 bond builder into my semi-permanent colors. This really helps with not only strengthening the hair and bond building, but it helps with color longevity as well. So I started working and then luckily realized that I was not recording. So those first couple sections did not get filmed, but you will see it on the other side. And I started with yellow and I started with green and now we have moved on to yellow. So basically, these are going to be much larger panels of color than in my previous rainbow because we're not doing a bunch of prisms together. This is just going to be one long prism down. Now you'll notice when I started this one, I put a new plastic sheet on and that one went over her ear. So whenever you're doing the larger panels through the back like this, where it's not just above the ear, you might need to lay a couple different pieces down to go over the ear to make it flat. You'll see as we go down, but right now I am just painting that rainbow panel. But you'll be able to see another new section here, taking really, really thin slices. And then I'm going to get another sheet so it's long and wide enough. And we are going to pull that hair super taut. And this is why I like using the clear sheets because now I can see the section underneath. So if I started with green, I went to yellow, next up is going to be orange. And then we just keep following that pattern. And you want to try to lay the color exactly on top of the one that's underneath it. You'll also notice that when I start a new color, I don't go under the color that's above it. I go a little bit on top of it because that's going to really help blend it together. And then I kind of brush my brush in all different directions. I'll go side to side, up and down, the other side. And then I use my fingers just like that to blend the color together. But it is as simple as this. I am just following my basic Roy G. Biv pattern and painting directly on top of the other one. So you basically want to make your scalp colors as wide as the panels on the plastic sheets or mesh sheets or foils, whatever you're using. But that is the most important part is when you're doing that base color, first of all, staying in the right order and then making sure that your sections are the same size. And like I said, these are much larger than my other rainbow prism video that I did before this, maybe a few weeks ago. And with those ones, they were really small. So you get a ton of prism action down the head, but these are a lot larger. But you see how tight I pull that hair? You really have to have it really thin section and really clean pull down. And then I'm still on my orange, but on that other one that I was saying, I posted from it was either 2 or 3 weeks ago. And that one, the small sections on the scalp were about like a half an inch. And these ones were doing like a full inch basically of each color. So we've got the orange and then the yellow. And then I always like to do both of them because there's going to be the yellow on the bottom and the yellow on the top. That's going to be a time saver so that you're not picking up the same brush over and over again. I mean, I guess it's not too bad when you only have two of them, but it is a time saver to just use both of the blue lines, both the green lines, whatever you have to do. Just like that. Now, the other important thing is saturation. You really have to make sure that you are saturating each color. It is helpful when you're laying them down on top of each other, but you still want to be really careful and make sure that all of it is saturated. That's also why I like using my fingers to blend and why I go back and forth in all the different directions. But you can see here, this way I know there's no hollow spots. Everything is going to be really blended together. And once the color is on the hair, it's encapsulated. So even if I touch it with my fingers, I'm not going to smear it into another one. It's not going to be a mess. You can absolutely just like touch the color. You won't even see color come off on your skin. It'll be more like a conditioner type feel. But you can see how smooth I lay that section down. And then I'm still coming in with orange because, like I said, we're doing larger sections than the one I did previously. And that's what's great about prisms. It may be the same placement, but it is still customizable because you can do different colors, you can make your sections different sizes. So just because it's the same placement, it doesn't mean that it has to look the same every time you do it. But while you watch me do my pattern, I am actually recording this voiceover from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I am currently at the BTC show behind the chair. If you are not familiar, they do a huge hair show and awards show every single year. I have gone so many times. And this year I have 4 nominations. So that is so exciting. And I don't think I'll win, but it's so much fun to come and see all of my friends and everybody from hair shows. So I am sitting in my hotel room, making sure that I get my voiceover done. And that's where I am. But I've had so much fun. I got to take a class today from Tracy Cunningham. So if you are not familiar, Tracy Cunningham, like if you Google who is the most famous hair colorist alive in the world today, her name will pop up. Like she does like J-Lo, Gwyneth Paltrow, Dakota Johnson. Like she is the celebrity hairstylist and she is just incredible. But I got to take a class with her today. And so I am still reeling from that. And now I'm making a little YouTube tutorial. And I'm just like, I have no business because Tracy Cunningham was just like in my orbit today. but but anyway, even I absolutely do education all the time. I love going to hair shows. I love going to classes. So yesterday I got to do a Danger Jones class, and that was so much fun with M. Chen and Tia Lamborn. And now I am sitting here narrating this beautiful rainbow video for you. And then we are going to have a super fun award show, and I will let you guys know all about it. Maybe I'll make a little short or something and post it up so you guys can see some highlights. But it has been such a fun time here. But I had to make sure that I get my Monday video posted for you guys, and I just did not have a chance to do this voiceover. So here we are, we're getting it done, and I'm so happy that I am. But from here, you can see that I went after the orange doing my pink section, and we have like almost made it to the entire back half of the head. And I'm just rubbing those colors together, really meshing them and doing the exact same thing, lying it down flat and then just painting directly on top with my colors. And then I know that you can see those lines from her previous color. There was like blue and some other like greens that were kind of hiding in there because we did a completely different placement on her before this. But even though we have those other colors hiding underneath, I am not worried about it. I knew that the rainbow was going to come out just fine because I'm sure you guys have seen me paint color on top of old color and then you're just like, oh wow, it actually worked. So trust me, it's going to work out great. So don't always feel like you have to remove everything from the hair because you can absolutely work with faded color on vivids. So I always would rather try to work with it than removing it and working against it. And with a color like this, you want to rinse with ice cold water. Not that it's going to bleed if you don't use ice cold water, but it really helps lock it in. And I think that there's less chance of like a color fading because with Danger Jones, even when I've had days when it's really hot outside, so the pipes are hot and the water won't get really cold, it still hasn't made my rainbows muddy using Danger Jones. So that's great because there are some brands where it's like if you don't use ice cold water, it will melt all over the place. So I don't have to worry about that with this one, but I still like to use cold water because I know that it's going to lock it in and help the color last longer. So sometimes it's not even so much about bleeding, it's just about the color lasting. And then you can see how I basically like glue that hair on top of those other sections and then just paint on my colors. Super simple. And the larger panels of color like this one, I feel are faster to get through than the really small one because it's just a lot easier. You have less little sections that you're doing, but it definitely still takes a long time. If you do the rainbow prism on top, I know I've got some videos that have the top mohawk panel rainbow prism. So that one is literally half the time that it takes to do underneath. Because when you're doing the whole mohawk panel of a rainbow prism, it's just that one section across the top of the head. So when you're doing hidden, you have to take both sides. And so it's technically double the work when you're doing hidden rainbows underneath than if you were to just do the mohawk on top. So do remember that it's definitely more time consuming to do a hidden one because if we were just doing a regular rainbow prism, I would be like at the back of her head right now and we'd be done. But always make sure that you factor in that time when you're doing something like this because you have to repeat the exact same process on the other side. Another reason why you have to be so intricate with your sizing and your placements because you really want to make sure that they match up on both sides. And that is pretty much it. I feel like if you just follow your pattern and stay really careful in your sections, then it's kind of hard to mess it up. We've got our beautiful blue. Forgot the green, but you can see how I do like side to side, up and down. I am like rubbing that color in there, really making sure that everything is saturated. And like I said, you can just rub like that and see how none of the color was like smashing into the other ones from rubbing. And I am just repeating that same thing over here. So I ended with the red now. So we started with our green and it went green, yellow, orange, pink, red. So we are doing such large sections that we didn't even get all of the rainbow colors onto the scalp, which is fine. You don't need all of them, but you want to try to make sure that when you do the other side that you end on that same color so that they all line up. And I feel like this is just like so self-explanatory. So maybe I will just play some music and you guys can watch me paint the other half. And if you have any questions or comments or concerns, please leave them. And I love answering them. So ask away whatever you want. And in the meantime, here's some music while you watch me paint the other half of this beautiful rainbow. All right, I'll jump in here at the very end. Now that we are almost done, rub those colors together. I rinsed her out, like I said, with ice cold water. I'll list all her styling products, which are K18 and Leaf and Flower, in the description. Let's watch this rainbow appear. So cool. This is one of my favorite things to do with the blow dryer and hidden rainbows. Look at how fun that looks. I love how it just appears. There it is. Look at how beautiful it matches up on both sides. Here we have our half up, half down and curled. It almost looks like thermal imaging on the top. Look at how amazing that looks. None of those old blue lines are visible. It all just looks like it was a clean blonde. And look at how gorgeous that prism is. Love it. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with me for another tutorial. I'll see you next week. Bye.